Hey everybody, how's it going? I got a pretty wild story today. It's a pretty major international article, made a lot of major headlines, a lot of major newspapers. It's regarding the El Salvador mega prison, um, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with or not, but basically they built this 40,000 capacity prison and have rounded up a lot of rival gang members, which we've now reached a capacity of over 65,000. I forget the exact number of guards, but basically the ratio is one prisoner to 80 guards, uh, and obviously extremely overcrowded. Here's a really good article by the Daily Mail. I'll go ahead and link it and give a little synopsis here. Will El Salvador's new mega prison turn into a bloodbath? Huge jail is already over capacity, packed with rival MS-13 and K-18 gangsters, starving inmates and drawing comparisons to concentration camps. The prison's opening comes as a brutal crackdown on the two gangs, the pride of President Nayib Bukele's campaign to clean up national violence. The number of homicides in El Salvador, considered to be the murder capital of the world, tumbled 56.8% in 2012 or 22, according to official figures. But the result will be an overcrowded 40,000 capacity person prison full of the country's most dangerous criminals, many of whom are on the opposite ends of the decades-long feud. So, in terms of numbers, it was built for 40,000 on here. As Latin American refugees fled to America, MS-13K gang 18 gangs formed on the streets of Los Angeles, and the war ended. Those from El Salvador returned. With them, they brought their gang affiliations, rivalries, and violence. Now, Ki-18 is thought to have around 65,000 global members, while MS-13 has between 50,000 and 70,000. I thought they were going to say this, but the capacity of the prison is approximately 40,000, or that's what it was built for originally. And there's currently sitting around an estimated 65,000 total prisoners in this facility. Um, and I'll go on. So the real reason that this is even coming up again in the news today, so I mean, it should have been big news when they built this because you're building a dystopian super prison. It's like that Escape from New York where you just stuff all these people in with no resources, allowing the guards are really the gang members. The gang members become the guards. Obviously, what person in their right mind would take a job defending that a 1 to an 80 ratio and actually think he's doing good and serving the country. And I understand it's an impoverished country and like that might be in America, corrections officer is a relatively respectable job. I don't think it's respectable, but it's a relatively well paying job. It's a stable job. Um and I'm not sure if that's the case down there. I highly doubt it, but why would you take that position if you weren't already affiliated with one of those gangs and kind of serving something? But you're putting yourself in such an immense level of violence one way or the other, even if you're playing everything, black and white cards on the table, like, you're putting yourself in a position where someone's gonna fucking take your message the wrong way or whatever. But continuing. It's called this Life in the vast CECOT Terrorism Confinement Center complex, which opened in January, is dire, with rights groups already comparing it to a concentration camp. As of February 2023, more than 64,000 alleged gang members had been rounded up, whom are designated or destined for the new mega prison. Early photographs from the prison show the inmates with their hands tied behind their backs, forced to stand or sit with their heads on the prisoner in front of them, leaving little to no room for movement. Treatment treated more like cattle than people, which, not too far. Obviously is horrific, but, articles kind of written like we treat our prisoners that much better in America, but going on. Inside the 36 feet walls guarded by 15,000-volt electric fences, so it's like Jurassic Park. The first cohort of prisoners now find themselves subject to a miserable life, overcrowded conditions, human rights abuses on a large scale, and deaths in custody. All contact with the outside world is cut off. Jammers block all cell phone signals in and out, which is actually a big thing. We do that in America. I know there was a big FCC complaint that You can't block the airwaves over this. I'm not sure if they ever won that lawsuit, so I'll have to check on that. Prisoners leave their cell only for legal hearings, which are conducted by video conference and to be punished. Punishment involves being locked in a dark, windowless cell in total isolation, something UN human rights experts say tantamounts to torture. More than 100 inmates share a cell, each of which has just two toilets. So just envision that. You have 100 people in a basically concrete box, two toilets, you got two shitters, and uh, it's that's no good, man. Like all are given a little under 1 meter squared to live and sleep. They have no mattresses, no outdoor spaces, and they are regularly beaten, abused, and exploited. So, I mean, it's like Escape from New York. I mean, you fend for yourself, and I mean, Escape from New York sounds like friggin' staying at the Marriott compared to this shit, obviously, but it's fucking wild. In a country, and this is where we're getting to. In a country with a GDP capita of about $4,500, relatives are reportedly expected to pay $170 a month or $2,040 per year for food, hygiene products, clothing, and other essential items. So, if you get locked up, you don't get anything and your family has to pay $170 a month if you're going to survive. And at that level, like the fact that nobody really, like, we're just now talking about this, but like, if you're gonna lock 65,000 people in a box and leave them to kill each other, eat each other, or starve, like, I mean, why not just, like, I mean, I'm not obviously not advocating this, but like, it's execution, but even less humane. Like, you can't just do that to people, like, and then obviously you're going to develop an intense, there's going to be a massive black market. I mean, these are all gang members, they're all cartel affiliated and all this. So, I mean, there is money and things are moving and all the guards are probably on the take, but, like if you don't have money and you're kind of that destitute guy, then you're not going to be eating and you're going to be sleeping on concrete and they're apparently not feeding you. So, unless you have $170, if you don't have a family, then I mean, the way this is reading, you're SOL. So I don't know. I mean, this might be they might be out to making it sound worse than it really is, and like I'm sure they have to feed you. Like they can't just let you literally waste away and die. But I mean, you're two steps away from doing that. Like you're two steps away from doing that. In America, you get an indigent pack if you can't afford anything, you can't make commissary or anything, and that's just like state soap, state toothpaste, and then you get your obviously your prison food. Like at least in America, you do get your prison food, which is its own. I'm happy to make a couple statements about that at some point, but I mean, there's things to say about that, but I mean, you're not really going to starve to death in an American prison. And here, it sounds like you very easily could be starving to death. Like maybe you'll get a meal a day. Like if you can't afford shit, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, we're basically getting in the infancy. I mean, this is the new level of dystopian fucking hell that we're asking for. And I mean, you can't put 65,000 people, 65,000 men, mind you, like in a prison with guards who are on the take and gangs who are, and literally, I'm showing the pictures, I'm sure, but like the conditions here are just fucking horrific. And, like you can't have people living like that and expect them not to fucking eat each other, like shit's gonna fucking break down real quick. And I don't know, I mean, this is their solution to their gang problem. Did we cover that? They had in 2022, they had a 58% reduction in violent crime in El Salvador. So, did this work? I mean, if you look at the statistics, and those are the official numbers, obviously, there's some credence to it, but what cost are you paying? And then here's a couple little things about the black market. Reports suggest anything sold in the prison sold at a premium. Bottle of Coca-Cola costing as much as $10. To make matters worse, thousands of innocent people are thought to have been rounded up Bukele has cracked down on gangs simply for resembling criminals, which also runs to the point, and this, they call it crackdown and a roundup. So that also brings in, this guy's not got the best political track record. He could be rounding up political dissidents. Like, you say the wrong thing, you get rounded up. Like, this is the same as the gulags, the concentration camps. You know, you round up political rivals, you toss them in a box, don't give them food. People forget about you and you starve to death. Or you fucking get shanked up. Like, that's how they're fucking dealing with, enemies right now. And I mean, the MS-13. Let's be honest here. Like, they're a significant. I mean, it's like the Sinaloa cartel down in Mexico. Like, they're basically a political party down there. So they honestly would be the closest thing to a militia revolutionary force. And I mean, they're sitting in a super prison right now. But I don't know. I'm just reporting on it. Some reports say minors are also among those arrested, and blah blah. Bukele also reports Bukele here. It says right here. Bukele also targets reporters who detail the excesses of his government. You're just asking. Anytime you use the word roundup and crackdown, you're asking to get political rivals taken off the street. That's just a fact. Let's see if there's anything good here. That's just talking a lot of gang history. Yeah, I really just wanted to talk about the facility, but huge prison allows El Salvador to hide the ugly side of its criminal underworld. Fix or lock it away, put it away, and forget about it. Hide it and forget about it. 36-foot walls. Talk about that. Last, that is funny. This continues because it can, in more words. Yeah, this continues because it can. The extent of El Salvador's crime problem, which over decades has been responsible for the deaths of many of thousands of innocents, means the project has still has widespread public support. So they apparently like it down there officially. Who the fuck knows what they really think? But last month, Bukele celebrated the country's safest month in 201 years after launching his war on gangs in 2022. Civilians have spoken of how gang violence seemingly cleared up almost overnight. Hilarious. In some parts of the country, the sounds of gunshots stopped and the gang signs sprayed on walls were painted over. Incentivized to detain and deprive criminals, human rights experts warn the national prison system is filling up with thousands of people, including hundreds of minors. Life inside Life inside CCOT is still otherwise largely unknown, as Bukele has declared all information about prisons and their security policies confidential. Shocking. Irene Cuellar, Central America researcher at Amnesty International, told Mail Online, tolerates, even encourages excessive use of force. Okay, I think we can all agree that it is not good, and or it's not good conditions, which that's the majority of the rest of this article seems to be. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. It's pretty fucking wild. Yeah, Supermax prison, like, again, it's already over 55 or 50%, so 150% of the expected capacity. I'm sure they're just going to keep cramming people in there because they got an investment now. But yeah, these conditions. I'll show the pictures here, but conditions do look horrific. And I mean, yeah, what are you gonna do? But I mean, the political implications of it are horrific as far as being able to round up dissidents and throw away the key essentially, and some shadowy mega prison. It's probably the biggest eyesore you could imagine. But yeah, I don't know, wild stuff. You guys got any thoughts? Happy to hear it. Just wanted to bring it up. Cheers.